Hey everybody, this is Talkative Carl back again for another movie spoiler review. And today's movie we'll be reviewing is Jet Li's The One. Probably one of my favorite Jet Li films, made in 2001. Sorry, still feeling the effects of the one chip challenge thing. Check out that video on the channel uh, uh, after you see this. Oh, God. Feeling my gullet. Anyway, after the events of like the whole Loki series, it really got me thinking about just bringing up uh other movies that toyed with the notion of multiverse. At least talked about the multiverse theory. When I was a little kid, the first time I actually was exposed to the theory or the idea of a multiverse was Jelly's the One and the Justice League animated movie Crisis on Infinite Earths, where the Justice League meets the crime syndicate of America, and there are three who are like the reverse of what the Justice League and their Earth would be. On the crime syndicate's Earth, uh, evil is pretty much like if good will always win in the natural order in our world, then in their world, evil is the natural winner in their world. So, uh, so I when I watched Jet Li's The One as a kid, this was around the time when DVDs was like pretty much like rampant. Like it's like a collection to have. Um, uh, like I said, this movie was made in the in 2001. So I mean, like when it was released in theaters, November 2nd, 2001, didn't even notice it wasn't even in theaters at all. Uh, for the longest time, I always thought it was like direct to video kind of situation. But this was directed by James Wong, written by Glenn Morgan, and of course starring Jet Li, Delroy Lindo, who you've seen in like Romeo Must Die, another Jet Li film, and the late great Aaliyah, uh, Carla Gugino, and then of course Jason Statham, who he wasn't that known at that time. I think this was like one of his first few roles that he started before he started picking up steam. James Wong, uh, he had, let's see, check his filmography. He didn't direct that much stuff. Oh my God. Uh, he directed Dragon Ball Evolution. What the fuck? Uh, he uh, wrote for the film The Boys Next Door. He directed the first Final Destination film, which is actually pretty decent. Then this, he written, produced, and directed this. The TV show Willard, he only produced that. He wrote, directed, and produced Final Destination 3. He wrote and produced Black Christmas. And then he uh, was an uncredited writer. I don't know why anybody wants to be credited for that movie, but he directed Dragon Ball Evolution. Yeesh. So he had like a mixed bag of some pretty decent films and not so good. And he wrote for a lot of TV shows like 21 Jump Street in the 80s, Booker, Wise Guy, X Files, uh, the others, Tower Prep, The Event, American Horror Story in like 2011 to 2019, Rosemary's Baby in 2014, and the X Files. So he had a decent you know uh, things underneath his belt. But wow, I just want to y'all get my reaction when I look into the directors and see what they did previously. And this blew my mind. I did not know he directed Dragon Ball Evolution. Woof. Ugh. But anyway, like I said, this delves into the multiverse, and I figure since now we're into phase 4 of the MCU, and we diving into the multiverse with WandaVision, Loki, and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. I wouldn't go into a movie where the falls heavy into the multiverse. So Jet Li play a few roles here. And, this really shows his kind of acting prowess a bit. As the movie starts, they give a brief description that in what is called the Alpha universe, they managed to predict the weather, certain gates or wormholes that will link one universe into another universe. So for interdimensional travel, they managed to get the science down, or at least they were more advanced in that kind of technology in their universe to be able to monitor and eventually police the multiverse for jumps and stuff. Don't know if they actually had because one higher official there pretty much all the which they called the MVA, multiverse agent, was kind of funny because you think about the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, and this movie has variants. So the MVA, the head honcho, mentions at some point about how illegal travel. So that means you can obviously travel legally. So I'm thinking to myself, because I haven't thought about that as a kid, but at least maybe I don't think so I did, but as I'm watching this movie, so that means it's kind of plane rides to different countries. You can just buy a ticket and board some kind of teleporting device to travel from your universe to another universe, going on vacation. Because I don't think about it, it's kind of dope. It's you're not there forever, because they have these, you can tell it's dated a bit, because they have these weird looking flip phones where you flip them open and it kind of spirals into almost like a satellite dish, but got kind of iPhone functionality with which suffice to say the screen thing. But when you look at it, it's kind of very it's kind of dated. It's very 2001ish. Or maybe it's because they got watches to the time when the next wormhole opens, so you can just cut through. So we begin in this one universe where Jet Li you get a sense that you in a very big different universe. This is 2001, mind you. So it opens with a TV broadcasting in this universe of Al Gore winning the election in 2001, and it's going off of the newscaster was going off of his plans and everything like that. And then some SWAT members or just police officers with tactical gear go into this prison and let out this criminal called Lawless, played by Jet Li. And as they are taking him out, because I guess he's in this universe, this variant is a probably like a big time criminal. So he's been hauled off. Uh, I guess he's about to turn on somebody, so they need to be make sure he's protected and nothing happens to him. And as they walking out, about to load him up into the car, he's just like, something is wrong, and then he gets shot immediately, dead. And then it's like, well, it's still cool to me, but even I can acknowledge how like, it's kind of rough with like the certain CGI, but how like the Matrix, and this is funny. The first Matrix movie came out in 1999. So that slow motion technology kind of still holds up to this day. They do a slow motion shot a couple of times in this movie, and I find it maybe it's because of the budget that they had, which what was like the budget for this movie? The budget was 49 million, and they made 72.7 million in the box office. So they made their money back, obviously, but like I'm not sure at that time 2001 standards if the budget was enough to suffice to warrant CGI that, let's say, clunky looking. But at the time it looked pretty dope. So I don't begrudge it too much, but the shooter turns out to be another Jet Li variant called Gabriel Yulaw. So there's a lot of law variants in this universe, in these different universes, and as soon as, because he was in this like he was hiding away in like a vent, and when he took his shot, and then as soon as he cries down, he took out all these like officers, and like how like the Flash or Quicksilver moves so quickly and it's like times it slows down. He pretty much did the same thing. He's not like the Flash, but apparently when you kill a variant of yourself in another universe, because like in all these different universes there's like a web of energy connecting to all your variants, and like when one dies, that energy is dispersed to the rest. So when he did that, he started becoming a little bit more faster, to the point where he pretty much can just move to a point where time just slows down. He's just like, punching people, kicking people, and they in the air, and they just frozen there. He just like, does this like a big sweeping kick, in the to this cop that's just stuck in the air, and he just started outrunning, cars, clocking at 50 miles per hour. Then he gets caught by the MVA agents, Avon Funch, and played by Jason Statham, and Harry Rodecker, played by Delroy Lindo. And apparently, like, Rodecker and Gabriel Yulaw were partners previously before Funch came into the mix. He's the new guy on the job kind of dude. And get that whole him and Funch has this whole lethal weapon thing going on. It was like the black experience, by the books cop, and like the hotshot young dude partner that's always like tried to go off the books kind of situation, and he's still like learning on the job. And they were tasked like to take him in alive, but he Funk's still trying to take pop shots at him, trying to nail him, because at this point it's like all hands, well, I won't say all hands on deck, there's only just these two, but when they capture him, he's on trial in his own universe where they put up on screen about all his other variants that he murdered. Uh, like one in it, like with kind of different wigs and prosthetics and makeup on Jet Li to insinuate different variants of himself. One is like with like crazy white hair, look like called named Sven Law, where he looks kind of like just we got like a surfboard and like in the ocean behind him. It kind of looks like maybe like a surfer bro dude. And then it's like you know Lawless is just like a straight up criminal, and one looks like he could be he's like a mafia boss or like maybe like a yakuza boss or something like that. It's just that all these it's like apparently in this movie it could because he killed 123 versions of himself by this point, leaving only him and another other variant called Gabe Law, who's gonna be like Jet Li's good variant, the protagonist in here. Ooh man, that Reaper is not sitting well right now. Oh god. So apparently how this all got started is when like on like one particular mission with Ulaw and Rodecker, he was forced to confront Ulaw was forced to confront one of his variants for the first time on one particular mission, way at the beginning before this movie even started. And since he had to take out one of his variants, he noticed that he got a little bit, since the energy was dispersed, he got a little bit stronger, a little bit smarter, a little bit faster. And then, kind of like a junkie, he just kept wanting more of that. So he went through like a big downward spiral and started for like apparently 2 years straight. He been like, hopping from universe to universe, assassinating his other variants of himself for 2 years straight. Now, since it's 123 universes that he went to kill his other variants, and it's him and his other person, so that makes 125 universes that we know of. But it's a multiverse. That means multiple of that. But according to him, he just had to do one more. And so it's like in this movie, I guess it's only 125 universes in total. But by definition of a multiverse, there's an infinite amount. So it's like, because I never consider it, or maybe I just forgot. Back when I was a kid, as an agent or even a scientist, if you found like the meaning of a multiverse is multiple, so there's no set total number. So he's trying to, because as I'm watching this, I'm thinking to myself, well, you could probably be on like an endless, even if you did not get caught, or you like Sylvie in Loki series, spoiler alert, found a way to outrun the multiverse agents by hiding in like apocalypses or something like that until your next jump. You'll be doing this for multiple, for many years, because it's probably no end. There's no end to this. Well, of course, this is a movie. They gotta find like a decent end number, but it's like in theory, you'll be hunting yourself to the ends of time, because it's endless amounts. I mean, there might be a couple of universes here and there where you don't exist. There's that's one thing that's mentioned here, but it's still an infinite amount of time that you'll be trying to hunt your various other selves. And keep in mind, these other selves are going just as strong as you, and it'll be probably even more difficult the more you keep going through, because they'll be just as powerful as you. But that's just my my logic on it. Me trying to put logic on it's like just cool action movie, but it's just that just 125 and it's just like not infinite. But anyway, uh, according to Yu Law, is like, in his warped logic, because he's just, down a rabbit hole right now. Like I said, it's like a junkie when he's got that fix, and it's like he got that power now, and it's like I want more of it. So he abandoned everything he like the life that he knew of to go on this pretty much killing spree of himself. And according to his warped logic, is that you know how can I murder myself 123 times? It's just the universe is messy. I'm just trying to make it neat, so it only has one focal point where the energy can go, and one container, me. I will be the one. And Jelly has awesome lines in this film. It's mostly coming from his evil variant of himself. Uh, uh, so as he's like gonna be sentenced to live life on this Hades universe, where it's like a penal colony where they stick their inmates a lot of times. Like, I guess like the most egregious of offenders. His, I guess, girlfriend in this universe, played by Carla Gugino, who was, I guess, the character name was Macy Walsh, but was never even mentioned in the film. Snuck in a little small bomb connected to a little mouse that was hidden in her heel. Let it loose, and it caused a small explosion, which is enough for a distraction as Yulaw breaks out and changes the coordinates to the final universe that he has to go to. And now they gotta wait at least 30 minutes before they wait for another opening. This woman also, Carla also plays TK Law, who is Gabriel Law, in like the what universe, the Cyrus universe, where in that opening of that universe we get like the natural order of things in our perspective of 2001. George Bush Jr. as the president, giving his speech. Because like in the other universe where Lawless from, Al Gore was the actual president. So that would have been interesting to see how that played out. If we had like interdimensional technology where we can go to other universes, interesting to look up that universe's history as much as they look into ours and see like the pros and cons, because each universe probably would have like pros and cons. I remember watching Rick and Morty. I think it was like season 2, where like him and his Rick and his grandchildren just go on this different universe to try out like one of the that particular universe's he calls like the universe with the best ice cream you'll ever have. But he also says like they have like 7 9/11s there. There's pros and cons in every universe. So, don't know if there's like a particular one with a complete utopia, but it's always gonna be some problems. It's like when that tried and true notion. It's great to visit, but I wouldn't want to stay there. But in this particular universe where we're pretty much having our story, Gabriel Law, who's a Los Angeles police officer, who apparently for 2 years straight during Ulaw's exploits, he's starting to feel stronger, and he never knew why. And TK, who's his wife, played by Carla, just nice supporting wife and everything like that. Uh, she, he was, you know, releasing a different criminal for witness protection kind of situation. But once again, Law in like the air vents, started taking shots, not at the prisoner this time, but Gabe himself. But Gabe uh, started to sense his other self in his presence. Uh, got a little spider sense going on. But then once he like noticed that he's looking at himself, taking shots at him, and he tried to chase him down, but Law clearing like a big tall wall in like one or two jumps. Like Gabe just barely managed to do the exact same thing, but Law took a shot at him right in the vest, luckily, but was saved by Rodecker and Funch, who just came in the nick of time. So, once they, he was finally convinced by his wife to, get to the hospital to get, an MRI. Law tracks him down along with Funks and Rodecker. A big shootout, well, not a shootout, but it's like a big fight occurs with a few shots fired. And no, this is like a weird thing. Two things. One, as they enter the hospital and he's getting checked in, a couple of his police buddies look like they was like looking at him funny for some reason. Like they already suspecting him. They don't, even though they saying like hey, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Gabe and everything like that. But they look like they was trying to like hit on his wife a bit. Or I mean, it's maybe not. I mean, I'm not overthinking it, but it's just the way the conversation is going. I never understood it as a kid either. The fact that anything you need, TK, just let me know. It's just the undertones of like it's like they're ready to pounce at any moment on they supposed friend's wife. And another thing, when after the fight, they trying to Gabe's trying to like exit, he's trying to exit, and then the cops in there trying to like talk him down, but they got their hand on the gun, just like ready to like take a shot at him, and he easily subdues them. But it was like, it's crazy funny work with the handcuffs, where he's like handcuffing all those his buddies into like elaborate little ways where they can't like get out. It was like funny as hell. Whew. My stomach is settled. I should have took some Pepto before I started this review. But anyway, Rodecker and Fonz decide to go off script a bit and split up. While Rodecker goes after Law, Fonz is going to tail Gabe. Now, of course, Rodecker just to let his partner know, like he's showing him this little bomb, and it's synced to Funch's watch, saying like right now it's blinking green. When it goes a red steady, that means Law's dead, but it also means he is dead too, because it's like a big blast. It does pay off later on at the end of the movie, when it goes off like like a small nuclear blast almost, because it like melts almost any and everything. Uh, but he also leaves Fonz with this thing to chew on. You know, like I know you grew up, where like you had to fight for what you want, but in this field, uh, there's not everybody is a combatant. There are innocent people as well as the threat. So you have to like follow your heart, not your head sometimes. So they go their separate ways. Um, as Rodecker tracks down Eula, which is funny because he's sitting there like, you know, hijacked a, I don't know if it was like an ambulance or just a regular van. I think it was an ambulance. He hijacked one, and he's sitting there playing around with the radio station, trying to find like a pretty, any good music. He hits his rock music. That's like, kind of like heavy metal almost. Uh, and until like Roder pops up from the back and it's like, gun on, it's like, turn off the radio. And it's like, just when I found something I like in this universe. And it's like, what's the music like in other universes? That'd be an interesting thing. It's like, is that the same? Because like, in maybe another universe, musical artists like Jay-Z and Beyonce didn't make it as big as in our universe. And like someone like Kelly Rowland became like a megastar, and leaving like Beyonce as like the lesser of the Destiny's Child, because that'd be something. But yeah, of course, yeah, as they're talking, you know, Rodecker is just like, I want to bring you in, but I know that by this point you're just like, you just on this mass killing spree, because he wants to be a god essentially. Uh, uh, he crashes the vehicle, steals the grenade, and breaks Rodecker's neck. And it was an awesome display. Like I said, this is like the CGI here is slightly rough, but then again, like I said, like this is a few years after the Matrix movie, so I was like, you can at least try to use the same technology to make the motion effects or whatever a little bit on par. But that's just my take on it. But uh he's stops these two police motorcyclists and just hand like almost like face palms the motorcycles and stop them dead in his tracks as flipping over these, and the officers like just flip out of their motorcycles onto the ground, and he's like the freaking Hulk or something. He, by one of each hand, he lifts the motorcycles up and starts like wailing on these officers, and like sandwiches a third one in between, pretty much crushing him, and just starting like just hijacking a police car. So Funch meets up with gave him to let him know who he is and what they're doing here. Of course, Gabe doesn't believe his whole multiverse thing at first, but it's like, you wouldn't want to be seeing yourself lately. As like I mentioned earlier in the video, he shows him like we managed to like to police the multiverse to avoid like illegal activity, without causing like a multiversal crisis. So it's not unlike the TVA. This is like the TVA was made by Jack Kirby, I think. So it's been around even before this. So I guess, I'm not sure if anybody knew about, because TVA was a very obscure kind of thing in Marvel Comics. Even I did not hear about the TVA before uh, until like the upcoming Loki show. So I doubt anybody around 2001, when making, or at least the year or two prior of 2001, when they was making this film, they were. I could be wrong, but I doubt anybody in the writing staff knew about the TVA and just ripped them off. So this is just like a maybe like a happy coincidence. But uh, uh, Gabe comes home to find uh, well, after coming home, TK was led by, like escorted home by the other officers, and what she thought was gay turns out to be Law. But in a impressive uh writing, whereas like in any other circumstance around this time, certain movies was just like to let it play out, where she's like that dumb where she doesn't bother to ask certain questions, because as he was being told by, or she was being told by her husband that he's been seeing himself and it's been weird and everything like that. So she was telling him like, oh, you remember the time when we did this, blah 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 blah, and it's like, of course, like, oh yeah, it was amazing. Maybe we'll go there next time. And then she pulls out a gun on him. It's like, well, we never actually went there. And he's just like, before you, I can take you up before you even pull that trigger. Or like, no, it's like, well, he mentions something about that, but she mentions like, all I gotta do is scream and they'll be up here in a second. Well, it's like, well, I can easily kill you before they even come into this room. But he eventually subdues her, and right as like Funch and Gabe head towards the yard outside the house, he had to stand there helplessly as Yulaw shoots his wife in the back, killing her. And just they had to run and escape as the police started to give chase to the wrong guy. So of course, eventually Funch finds out that not only Gabe's around, but knowing that his partner is dead, they stop at a gas station where this gas station attendant turns out to be a variant of his partner, and like just he needs just to just give it like a one final. He had so much respect for his partner. He never got us saying kind of final words to him, so he just decided to use this as a substitute, just to say like, I appreciate everything you excuse me, I appreciate everything you've done for me, and like I will make you proud. Confusing the hell out of this gas station attendant. So they go to this abandoned industrial factory, where they meet up with Yulaw, and he set off, as they enter, just to keep them separated, he sets off the stolen bomb he took off of Rodecker, and it goes off like a this huge blast that's like, I don't know, thermonuclear, because like once it's done, anything in the surrounding area was like melted. So there's like a lead to like a final confrontation. Well, Funch tried to fight Yulaw unsuccessfully. Now I'm not sure when Jason Statham started taking martial arts. I'm not sure, because if it was before this, I would think they would try to utilize that skill at least somewhat against Yulaw. I get it. Yulaw is very strong, so it's like nothing he can do anyway. But he get off these like very street fight like punches and everything like that. It's like we all know. I mean, of course, we didn't know at that time, but it's like we know now that Jason Statham is like very good martial artist. So I'm assuming maybe sometime after this he started like taking up martial arts, and this became like very adept at it. But it was just like weird to see like Jason Statham just getting his ass handed to him, knowing full well he can fight. Uh, but then it came down to Yulaw and Gabe, and which, by the way, I wanted to mention this before I forget. In all these different variants in different universes of Gabe, they gotta be some. They have to have the same like rough translation, or at least rough similarities to his last name. That's like there's Lawless, Yulaw, Gabriel Law, Sven Law, and it's like nobody has a completely different name that has to be Law. I mean, it's like I'm just saying, like, my last name is Maxie. But there's no. It could be. It's like another universe is like this Maximus. Another is like Maxie spelled with an Maxi, or just Maxe. Or is this like, come on? It's like I doubt it. It's gotta be some, like in the Loki series. Sylvie is a Loki, but she calls herself Sylvie. So it's like there's gotta be like the variations of yourself that has a completely different name than you, even though there are you. And I'm glad in this one, looking back after watching the Loki series, I'm glad, well, can you imagine? I'm pretty sure there's a variant of, Gabe who's a female. And it's like, can you imagine like that kind of thing? It's like, this is too far down rabbit hole mentally with this character, so I doubt he gives a crap. He just wants his little fix, and probably would have shot a female version of himself regardless. But I'm curious, maybe it's like Lucy Liu, probably like a variant of, or maybe Ming John Wen could be like a variant of Yulaw. But anyway, it came down to the two laws, and at first, like Gabe was like losing wholeheartedly because he was fighting with rage, because he was like extremely pissed, and he's not even care what happens to him. He just wanted to take this bastard down. But then after realizing that he's going about it the wrong way, I'm not sure if he starts switching up to wushu fighting, whichever is kind of like very sweeping, using like the enemy's power against them kind of situation. I'm pretty sure it's wushu, either wushu or taekwondo or hapkido. I'm pretty sure it's wushu. I'm not that I'm not like an expert on each martial arts. I know a few of them, but it seemed like wushu to me, because it's the way it's like it was like kind of flowing, and he got the upper hand. They travel back to the Alpha universe and try to be on some slick shit. Yulaw trying to, like, while they're, because as like you're traveling through the bridge, you start to just break apart and and reassemble into another universe, and it kind of like gets you like kind of discombobulated a bit. But it was kind of like when I first saw it, it was like, as a kid, it was like, that was rough to watch. I mean, it's like your face is breaking apart and you're screaming, like you look like you was in agony, being just ripped to shreds and then reassembled in another area. But as they were like incapacitated, Yulaw tried to pull some slick shit, and it's like, oh, that's him. And they just pull Gabe until like Funch realized the missing wedding ring on Gabe's finger. It's like, no, that's Gabe, that's Yulaw. And then they sent him off to the penal colony, in the Hades universe, and they by the director of the MVA was saying like, oh, he we gotta send him back too to his own universe, and like Front's trying to stick up for him. Was like, you can't send him back. They think this is all his fault. They're gonna lock him up for life. There's no way they're gonna believe where what he went through. And it's like, the director to his logic is like, he'll be cared for and the balance will be maintained. And it's like just following what Rodecker said, he followed his heart, and Fun's like, I know where to send him. It's procedure. I always loved the way Jason Statham talks. Is like, it's procedure. Bye, Gabe. And then it's like, there's more Jason Statham movies I want to review, because there's at least the Transporter and Crank movies. Like, besides, well, this is technically a Jet Li movie, but besides this, those other movies are like, those are my favorite Jason Statham movies. Not all the Transporters, I mean, like just the first two, and some parts of three. It's a little touchy, but he sends them not to his universe, but in a universe I guess he doesn't exist, because this is like a completely different universe. It's like, very bright, and they, people with like weird looking cars, look like something from Mario Kart almost. You got to see it to judge for yourself, but it was like very weird looking cars. And like in his own universe, he had this dog Ollie, which probably left in his own universe, and you only saw that dog at least one time. But you hear the story about how he found like his dog Ollie. He and then that's how him and TK met in the first place, through that dog. So as he saw this other variant of Ollie in this universe where he came through, realizing like where what Funch might have done, he goes to the nearest vet that happens to be nearby and sees a variant of TK as one of the veterinarians, and it's like, which was like a cool way of dealing with that problem. It's like, because at first when I first saw this as a kid, it's like, you're sending him a universe where he might have a variant there too, but then again, he did mention earlier about how like there's one that there's a universe where you don't exist. So that's where he probably sent, more than likely he sent Gabe there to a universe where he doesn't exist. But there's a thing here. You go to a universe where, well, let's say like you go to a universe where you don't exist. So you don't have to run to another variant of yourself and cause like a whole issue. How are you supposed to like start like building like like a driver's license, state ID, birth certificate, all the stuff that you probably need to go through some things that you would, and like establish a credit card and all that other stuff. You need like like medical insurance and all that other stuff. You need all that stuff, and he does not exist here, and he has to build it. I imagine that can be a serious, I won't say it's like an issue, but something that I'm pretty sure you can easily fix. But it's like a long process kind of situation, and it's like gonna be tough to explain certain things. But he has a happy ending where he has his sort of alive wife again, and his dog, and like a very nice Los Angeles. It turns out, like, one has like a banner that says like the cleanest place in the U.S. Well, you see like a cut to where Yula went to this big prison colony, and it's like one of my favorite lines, and to this day, it still sticks with me, because like I said, Jet Li playing as the bad guy, he gets like the best lines in this film, and it's like you get to see like these little very like dingy looking dudes looking over at Yulaw's like fresh fish, and it's like he climbing Yulaw's climbing these steps on his like not mono level like it's kind of like apparently it's called a ziggurat, but it's just kind of like just like a big hill like thing. It almost look like a temple like stairway to the tippy top, but it's not that not extremely tall, but it's kind of like that. It looks kind of like that. And he like as he's walking up the steps, he's like, "I am Yulaw. I'm nobody's bitch. You are mine. I don't even know you. All you just need to know me. I will be the one." It's like me when I was watching this as a kid with my brother and my uncle, and I believe my stomach was watching it with us, and like that line made us all laugh. It's the way it was delivered. I'm nobody's bitch. it's like for a little while, like I began like just saying that line. It was just so funny, and it's kind of like hardcore as fuck because it's like it's like that's totally what Jet Li was saying in a situation like that. It's like know how badass he is. Like I'm nobody's bitch. And he started like just as people trying to come to steps to like get a piece of him, he started like just whooping ass. And it's like you see like crowds of guys either cheering or some trying to climb up in the steps trying to take him out, and he's just kicking all their ass just like one by one, and he's like, and his rock music playing in the background, and he's like, and you see like what this penal colony look like is very like dark, thunderstorms, like look like it's probably have no sunlight, and it's like very rocky, so it's like and it ends him just fighting all these people. I imagine if it's like an epilogue or something like that, he's pretty much like either whoever's, because there's helicopters and somebody monitoring these people, either somebody had to lock him up solitary just like to keep him confined before he kills any more of the inmates, or he just pretty much dominate like the entire prison system, that's at least particular one that's there. I'm not sure how the whole world look like in this universe, but this penal colony, he just like, I imagine he just does dominate. And this was like a very unique in like, especially in movies around then, which I appreciate the hell out of, is the fact that the bad guy doesn't die in this. He goes essentially to prison, prison in a different universe, to live out a life sentence, but he's still like one of those unique things where like a unique in action movies more specifically, where the bad guy doesn't die, and it's like I thought that was like a cool way to, I think that was a very good decision. I like maybe I felt different back in the day, but I did appreciate that like we got like a ending scene where it's like he is like just like a sheer badass, mostly because maybe they've been like touting up this Hades universe so much, at least a few times in here, so we got the chance to actually see it and what it looks like. So it was just cool to see like him just kicking ass by himself with a crowds of people trying to get a piece of him, and he's just like just effing them up. It's awesome. I mean, this is a very 2000s type of movie, but it's fun as hell, and it's a great action movie. One of my favorite Jet Li films, easily one of my favorite Jet Li films. And like you get another fix of the multiverse thing, because it's all about multiverse right now in the next year or two with like this phase 4 stuff. So we're getting steeped into a lot of multiverse. I mean, a lot of people are like more interested in multiverse lately because of the MCU, and it's like, as I watched like on like Insider or GQ, like a video of this, scientist, is Japanese scientist who is just like very pleased the fact that so many people, because of the MCU, are more interested. These young people who are more interested in not only science but the concept of the multiverse, and it's getting more people interested in science. Is a cool thing. I think that's a cool thing too, and it's like maybe someday we'll find a technology where we can pass over to another universe to witness it. But hope it's not like the way like colonizers used to be when they go into different countries and just pillaging the whole entire place, or like in the Kang the Conqueror said in the Loki series. Hopefully we won't start some kind of multiversal war or a multiverse of madness. So, and just play it straight. But keep in mind, there's gonna be variants of yourself. There's gonna be like effed up. Like this one is probably gonna be like a complete psychopath. One just like a criminal thug. One might be a scientist. One might be a writer. One might just be a bum. One might be a military vet. It's like, one doctor, one lawyer. Like, there's always different variants of yourself that has different live different lives and made different choices that we would have probably thought about making, but chose something different. So, I mean, I'm saying it's like a very interesting thing to like delve into. I was, like I said before, because of this movie and Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths, I always had like a fascination of the multiverse, and I'm so glad we're getting into this, especially in Spider-Verse. By the way, I will, starting next week, I will start like doing some working simultaneously with, because I want to do the Nolan Batman movies for reviews, but at the same time, I want to start doing all the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies for reviews, all the Mark Webb Spider-Man films for Andrew Garfield, Venom, Spider-Verse. I want to do all that for the reviews, especially since I'm such a Spider-Man fan, and I got like him as my profile on my channels. It's crazy I haven't even done like a comic book review of him yet, or any movie review of him yet. So I only need to crack down on that before December 17th, just to get into Spider-Man. And matter of fact, I should do like a TV show review, at least for a couple of Spider-Man stuff, and and start like getting into some comics, Spider-Man comics. I need to like get all that done way before December 17th rolls around, so that I have like a nice little catalog of Spider-Man reviews on my channel. Don't want to rush it, but I need to get that done. But anyway, that is my review of The One. Please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of the movie if you've seen it, but I highly do recommend it. Of course, this is a spoiler review, so it kind of spoil a lot of the stuff here, but I still think I highly recommend it. It's a fun action film, one of Jet Li's best. But if you have seen it, leave your pros and cons in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff to Talkative Carl on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Share this with your friends. Follow me on my Patreon. That's patreon.com/TalkativeCarl. And check out my one chip challenge if you want to watch me just burn the hell out of my mouth, because I still feel it in my gullet right now. It's like the pit of my stomach. It's like just sitting there. It's like, oh my God, it's painful. Like the first half of this video. Oof, God. I probably need to take some Pepto-Bismol just in case. But anyway, I will see you guys in a little bit for more further reviews.